Hello, welcome back to some more yoga with Vincent. Vincent Gerbino here. I promised you this week we would take a look at back bends. They're some of my favorite poses, but then I never met a yoga pose I didn't like. A back bend is really a fancy stretch of the front. The spine never changes its length, only its shape. It can bend, it can twist, and so what we're paying attention to is putting the work in the front of the body and not compressing the spine together. So since we're starting cold, we're just going to warm up a bit. Some traditional moves from the Kundalini discipline of yoga. We've done in my classes and in my videos before. I'm doing a side view here so you can see how my body's moving. We're going to sit in Sukhasana and easy pose, cross-legged. If we feel tilted, maybe try crossing the other leg in front and seeing how that gets you centered. And take the palms to the knees. Inhale and exhale. So we are rocking the pelvis, rocking on our sitting bones. Inhale, exhale. We can do the Kundalini chant. Ha, Hari, ha, Hari. You got 4 muscles attached to each one of your vertebrae bones, and we want to get them warmed up and coordinated, moving with each other. And that's what we're doing here. Cruising, rolling on the sitting bones. Not forcing that curve in the back. We want the spine to curve gently. Gentle curve. We're not trying to yank the back into a big stretch. We are working along the natural curve. We'll probably feel some stretching there, but we want to be easy with that. When we come forward, we're lifting the rib cage. Definitely put some stretch in the abs, but be careful not to force the back ribs way down into the spine. We're still working with that very natural curve of the back. So we continue with this movement. Your spine was made to bend and to twist. It is built for that. Your body is beautifully designed. And despite some of the aches and pains we might have, it's more due to our bad habits than to faulty design, unless you have a specific condition. And when we go into our back bends, we're going to be mostly stretching the front, so we don't need to do super crazy back bends to have very positive effects on the body. Let's just mindfully think about pushing away what we don't need and taking in what we do need. We got to be as ready to receive as to give. And many of our very sound moral philosophies say it's better to give and to receive. We do need to do some of both. Sometimes we don't know the effects of what we're giving until we receive it. And that works with both good and bad stuff. Sometimes you give with good intentions and it makes somebody upset. That's why we have to be able to receive, because that's how we learn more about good giving. So come into a stop. Let's just inhale 1, 2, 3, and exhale. 1, 2, 3. I call this the peace breath, as we create harmony between the mind and the body, breathing with our movement. So we come up, lungs are full by the time the fingertips meet, lungs are empty by the time the fingertips reach the ground. Let's do a couple more of those. Alright, nice and strong. Kundalini twist. We don't need to forcefully throw ourselves into the twist, because most of the movement driving this twist is not coming from throwing the shoulders forward and backward. The work and the driver of this movement is in your abs. Use your abs. Use your abs to turn your body. Use your glutes, your buttocks, and your hips. So those muscles in your hip sockets, in your buttocks, those are acting to move, to turn the pelvis. Coordinating those muscles with your abs and your lower back. So the muscles are like hands, gently moving the torso. Your shoulders follow, because your shoulders are going to twist further, a bigger arc than your hips will make. So we want to make sure they're answering to your hips. Okay, the hips this far, and then I take the shoulder a little further, depending on how comfortable it feels. We are stretching diagonally across the back and across the abs now. If you have herniated discs or collapsed discs in your vertebrae, the discs between your bones back there, honor the limitations that you have. We're not going to force ourselves beyond our range of motion. Thinking through from bottom to top. We're moving carefully to protect the spine by utilizing its mobility. We'll come to a stop there. I'm going to take a side view so you can see my movement. This is called the thunderbolt. We come into the moving thunderbolt. Again, the pelvis is rocking. Our sitting bones are down right around our heels. Inhale and exhale. A little bit more spinal warm up. Then we'll take it into our first back bend. This series of warm-ups comes from the Kundalini discipline of yoga. The series is very therapeutic for many kinds of back pain. Let's make sure that the hips don't collapse inward when we're sitting, and we can sit on a yoga block or put a pillow there if we need some padding to make this comfortable. We want to be able to glide. And again, thinking of expelling what it's time to get rid of, taking in what it's time to receive. Coming to a stop just for a moment. Shanti Om. Let's feel the peace within us. Let's create it around us. So we come into another familiar one. The tiger movement. Vyagrasana. Wrists under shoulders. Knees stacked under the hips. Feet hip width apart. First with cat and cow, Marjorie. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. All of this warming up the spine. Your pelvis is not an afterthought. Remember when we were seated doing our seated twist, just moments ago. The hips were active in moving the pelvis. This time, instead of spinning, they are rocking the pelvis, using the glutes, using the inner thighs, the inner hips. We feel the outer thighs engage, especially when the back comes up. Keep a little bit of squeeze. If those thigh muscles slightly hug, the thigh bones hugging the femur. And a few kicks, just for kicks, to get the legs coordinated and energized with the pelvis and the abs and the shoulders. So we freeze for a moment. Left knee, inhale. Ha, ha, hari, 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 ha. Bring it down, right knee, inhale. Ha, hari, 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 ha, hari. Full spine movement. Ha, hari, ha, hari, ha, hari, ha, hari. Full spine movement, active pelvis. Awesome. Everybody still with me? All right, we take it down right on the belly. And we can use a yoga strap here. If we're not getting back here too easily, a yoga strap works fine. This won't be the only time you see this pose with me, so no worries, and you can always email me. There's going to be plenty of free videos. Love donations will be accepted. We all have different levels of needs right now. While some of my videos will be for sale, there'll be plenty of free stuff, including this one. Let's take the right hand back and catch the right foot. Kick the foot back into the hand before that knee even leaves the ground. Kick into the hand and just slightly pick up the knee. The thigh is still floating on the ground. Push through the kneecap. Like there was a wall right behind your kneecap and you wanted to reach through your kneecap and touch the wall with the kneecap. So we are stretching the thigh here. The stretch is in the thigh. So we can come way up into this pose. We want to make sure we are not compressing the backbones together. The spine bends, but it does not shorten. As we pick that up, this thigh is not passive. This thigh is lifting, and your foot is kicking. Gives a wicked stretch in the thigh, up into the abs. Because it's a frontal stretch, not a spinal compression. It's a frontal stretch to bend the back safely. We can bring that way up. We get a bit of burn in the thigh. It's also going to send some wicked calming energy down. You bring it down, you'll feel some in the heart. Positive energy sent up from the lower chakras into the chest. Let's get that left hand back there. Catch your left foot. So my fingers are touching right at the crease of the ankle joint. We kick back. Kick back. Thigh is still floating. We're reaching through that left kneecap. Reaching through that left kneecap. Kicking back pretty strongly. We can pick up the foot with the hand, but don't let the leg get passive. The thigh is still active. No matter how much I lift with my hand, I'm not going to stop kicking into the hand. Got to keep that thigh active. We can also lift the leg using the thigh, using the quads. Getting that wicked stretch in the quads. Loving it. Feeling it. Candle breath can work really well here. Shaping your lips like you're blowing out a candle to breathe both in and out. We bring it down. Bring it down. Let's bring the hands. We slide them back. We scoop the chest this way, diagonally upward, forward. Scooping, 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 and then we come up into our very traditional cobra pose. And the key is not let this pelvis be a dead weight. We are still using the abs and the hips, abs and the inner hips, to provide a bottom for that body weight. We can kick the feet to the floor. We are threading the rib cage between the arms, spinning the elbows in for a nice, safe cobra. Now, if we are caring for disc issues, a modification is our Sphinx pose. Elbows shoulder width apart, elbows parked right under the shoulders, planting the forearms, and we can still thread the rib cage upward between the arms. This makes it almost impossible to have any significant spinal compression. We can press the floor and pick up that rib cage, feel the abs stretch. We get a very safe curve in the spine. Okay, we're going to scoop it up. Lift with the belly, bring it up. Breathe. Child pose. We do a forward fold to counter every back bend. This helps set everything back to normal. A lot of back injuries happen because the abs and the thighs, the quads are too short, so they squish everything down here and it overextends. The back usually ends up in the lower back. Sometimes workplace injuries happen. We're pulling heavy weights like a pallet jack for those who work in warehouses. But anyone who's pulling something you pull, it can hyperextend the middle of the back. So that means overstretching. When that happens, we need to stretch the front so those overstretched muscles can shrink back to their proper length and relax. Development of mobility in the back takes some time. So, our Ustrasana, Ustra means camel in Sanskrit, Asana means pose, so hence the pose name Ustrasana, camel pose. Sounds kind of like German. Ja, wir gehen zu Ustrasana. Jetzt in Ustrasana. No. We're going to brace the pelvis with the hands, but never shoving the pelvis with the hands. The pelvis always anchors itself decisively in the hands. Hands are going to support the pelvis, but never force the pelvis forward. We pick up with an inhale. We pick up the front ribs, stretching, increasing that distance between those bottom ribs and the waistline. And as we stretch here, we can pick up the front waist just a bit and stretch the quads all the way from the waistline down to the kneecap. Exhale the elbows closer together behind you. Now if you're caring for disc issues, probably want to stay right here. No matter how far we go in this pose, if we go way down here, it's all about lengthening the front and not compressing the back. It's like as if we had a horizontal bar behind me and I was just going to lean on that bar, have that stretch in the back. The bar, if it were a stationary horizontal bar, wouldn't move. You would adjust yourself against it so that it's comfortable for your back. For those of us able to seek a greater challenge if we want to, we don't want to feel any pain in the back. We don't want to feel like the back is smushing together. We can dangle the hands down. We can hold yoga blocks in our hands and create a place to anchor the hands. The hands can push off of where we anchor. Right here I'm dangling the hands. Now, I've been doing this for quite a while, so that's the only reason I make it look easy. The pelvis comes forward. We don't want to feel a pinch in the back. If we're feeling a pinch, we need to come out of that pose a little bit. The abs can work super hard. They can stretch, they can scream a bit, as long as you're in control. If you get to a point where you think, oh, I don't know if I can pull myself out of it, that's where we want to stop and pull back a bit and make sure we are in control. So our full Ustrasana, our full camel pose. Let's go way back. Deep breath in, stretch those abs. Squeeze in the glutes to support back there. Let's exhale on up and out of it, lifting the chest. Back to a child. Candle breath. Pull your breath in and out. Regulating it so your breath doesn't run away from you. Alright, we're going to take it down on our backs. Both supported bridge and wheel pose. Evolve into back bends. Very carefully, our feet are hip width apart. Bring your heels almost to your buttocks. Drawing the shoulders back into your mat. Scooping the sternum up. Scooping up the middle of the chest. We make a curve. Let's make another curve. Let's pick the pelvis up. We're anchoring the heels. We're pushing down behind the toes. Sweep your hands underneath for Shalamba Sarvangasana, the supported bridge pose. Lifting, 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 lifting. Pulling the shoulders back. Lifting the sternum, lifting the stomach. This is a pretty safe place for most of us. Let's be careful about those discs if we're honoring limitations there. Be mindful of where those limits are. We're not forcing ourselves in a pose to prove anything. Now, if we can seek a greater challenge, let's take the hands. Tuck the fingertips just under the shoulders. Bring the elbows inward as close to shoulder width as you can, because that allows you to push the hands down and use the strength of your arms to lift. And we might need to walk those heels back a bit. We can continue a supported bridge. We can press the hands down. Lifting into Chakrasana, the wheel pose. Now my back is pretty much on vacation here, having a cup of coffee. The work is in the quads, right up here, and in the stomach. Deep breaths, candle breath works beautifully here. This is a very exhilarating pose. Trust yourself, taking care not to smush your back. Deep breath in. We're going to do a very slow candle breath exhale. Nice, safe descent. And this is like a flipped over child, our knee hug. Loose candle breath here. You'll notice an uptick in your heartbeat. This has pushed blood along in a positive direction, has helped increase blood flow, and all this stretching has decompressed your blood vessels. All right. Taking a little chill time. This gives a good yoga buzz. It wakes up the lower chakras. Number 1, number 2, and number 3 sends that energy up into the chest. Next time, good stuff. We could proceed to meditation or to another workout because we're nice and stretched out. Of course, more yoga. Always, I'm into that. So I thank you for joining me. More to come with back bends and other good stuff. Shanti Om. Namaste.